is because my background is actually in Poland. I have family who came from Poland, as well as the Czech Republic, and places like that, which we'll get into later. So I have some long distant relatives that came to America from Poland back in the early 1900s.
Wow, that's a very cool connection, Matthew.
Wow.
Ooh, cool.
Me too.
So we're going to be exploring Poland today.
I love that royal.
As you can see, there's a little bit of diversity in terms of culture of Poland, as well as the more nature outdoors aspect of Poland, with kind of like nature and different things of that.
All right, you direct me, Matthew, when you need me to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, no problem. You can go ahead, Michelle.
Okay.
So before we get started, let's point to exactly where Poland is. So Poland is located in Central Europe, and is bordering, it borders a lot to different other countries that we'll talk about later. Michelle, do you happen to have a map, another map from Google Maps?
I do. Let me pop out of this slideshow real quick. You all know how we love jumping over to Google Maps.
Ooh, Chattanooga. That's me.
So as you can see on this map, Chattanooga is all the way over here, and Poland
That's where I live.
is across the pond, as they say,
Poland.
across the Atlantic Ocean in Europe. So if you, Michelle, if you would go over to Poland, we can get more into.
Here's Egypt.
Absolutely.
Poland, right there.
There you go. Thank you. So many of these countries you've probably heard of, France, Spain, and as you see here on the map, Germany is actually a bordering country of Poland, along with Slovakia, Ukraine, Belarus, and Lithuania, which we'll talk about later, as well as the Czech Republic, which on this map is called Czechia. And with that, Michelle, you can go on to the next slide.
And hey, Matthew, real quick, it's probably my house because as you could see, there was a lot going on, but I don't know, but if you could speak up just a little, that would be awesome.
Okay, yeah. So like I said earlier, Poland is located in Central Europe. It has a population of over 39 million people. But before we get more into that, Michelle, you could go ahead and pop that video up.
Okay.
And this video is just more into the culture of Poland. I want to point out something.
Did
Is
you
that
say to
the-
pause? I'm sorry, Matthew, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
If you notice the type of music that is being played, it's called polka music, which is popular in Poland. The name kind of goes hand in hand, polk and Poland. And different musical instruments that can be included in polka music. I don't know if you heard, but the accordion is used popularly in polka music. Based on what you heard, is there anybody who'd like to maybe share any other instruments that they think is in polka music?
Trying to think.
Oh, good question, huh, Emily?
You've got some people putting on their thinking caps, thinking faces.
Guitar, maybe?
Yeah, bass guitar.
Nice.
Can I have like a bagpipe?
Oh.
So other music.
I think Julie
Somebody
had her
had-
hand up.
Or like,
I think
Yeah,
I hear the
Julie, you got
piano
something?
playing.
Piano. That's right.
or like an orchestra playing different instruments together.
No, accordion.
Ah,
Accordion.
there it is.
Yeah, accordion.
That was a pretty distinct
Does anybody
sound.
know?
The guitar.
Does anybody know how an accordion is played?
Like this.
Let me.
Yeah,
Yes.
Doom, 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 doom.
Now,
you got it, Julie. So yeah, trumpets are commonly found in polka music.
Yeah.
Clarinets, pianos, saxophones, and even drums. I know drums may not be. I don't think
I love
in this
drums.
type of music, in this music in this video, but drums are actually commonly found in polka music. So I just wanted to point that out as we continue forward. So Michelle, you can go ahead and continue with the video.
Okay. I know some people are really feeling the polka. Huh, Julie?
You're right.
I saw Julie dancing.
Right. You can keep on grooving, Julie.
I'm bad.
We moved from Sydney to Soce. Welcome to our place. If you want to see the most precious European forest, you can visit Białowieża Forest, the only natural UNESCO heritage site in Poland.
W moim ogródeczku rośnie jagoda. Powiedz mi, Maniusiu, coś miała młoda. Jacek była młoda jak chworu jagoda, jak chworu jagoda. Ona była młoda jak chworu jagoda.
My name is Barbara Bańka. I am guide in Białowieża National Park, and we are in this beautiful, strictly protected area of Białowieża National Park that actually is the best preserved part of Białowieża Forest. So let's dive in.
W moim ogródeczku rośnie lilia. Powiedz mi, Maniusiu, czy będziesz moja? Skądże ją mam wiedzieć i tobie powiedzieć? Skądże ją mam wiedzieć, cytuję mama ta. Skądże ma to wiedzieć i tobie powiedzieć? Skądże ma to wiedzieć, co ją mama da? Skądże ma to wiedzieć i
That was a very cool, Matthew.
Yeah, it was.
So as you saw in the video, there are many different aspects of Polish culture, including cooking, which I believe we'll talk more about at the end, with some interesting facts, and the outdoors with the Białowieża forest, which we'll talk more about later. I don't know if you noticed in the video, but there's a type of the houses in Poland in which they have windows that are specific to the houses in Poland that are known for the architecture of that type. So that's another specific thing to Poland.
Very cool. You ready to jump back into that presentation?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Right.
So the early history of Poland. You can go to the next slide. There you go. So Poland was actually first established in the 10th century, which is in actually the 900-year range. And it was established by Duke Mieszko I, who was the first ruler of Poland and claimed rule once he married Princess Dobrawa of Bohemia, which is now the Czech Republic, which is also, if you go back to that map, is one of the bordering countries to the southwest. You can move on, Michelle. And so until 1795, Poland was what is called a sovereign country, which means that it basically was independent, had its own independence. In 1795, however, Russia and Austria were two countries that had a lot of power in Europe. So what happened was Russia, Austria, and what was called Prussia at the time, they took control of a lot of pretty much all of Poland and Lithuania, which is at the northeast. Also, if you go back to that map, which is the northeast of Poland. To the northeast right there would be Lithuania. And it wasn't until 1918, after World War I, when the Treaty of Versailles was established, which was basically the end of, established the end of the war, it was until Poland didn't get their independence back. So just kind of a little bit of a background of history of Poland.
Yeah, something I'll add to that, Matthew, and maybe you're coming to this later, so I don't want to steal that info, but how it disappeared from maps of Europe. Are you going to get into that later, or do you mind if I share that?
Yeah, go ahead. You go right ahead.
Okay.
What do you mean it disappeared?
Well, you know how it's easy for us. Let me bring us back together real quick. And if you want to see everyone, remember you can go to that view button and hit gallery. So you guys, just like Matthew said, in 1795, it was taken over by these three countries. And it's in our history, it disappeared from a lot of maps of Europe. Just wasn't there anymore. It's no more Poland. It's now these different sections of these other countries, basically. Until I believe it was after World War II, Matthew? Or after World War I, when it got back on the maps. That's where I get a little fuzzy in my memory of that.
It became sovereign again, like I said, in 1918, after World War I, after the Treaty of Versailles was established, which was basically the treaty that ended the war. And part of that treaty established that Poland would become its own country with its own government again.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy, thinking about the United States just disappearing from maps. What if you couldn't find the United States on a map anymore? That's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
United States.
A lot of countries
Other
have
than-
done that.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting how for a period of time, Poland wasn't really considered much of a country. It was pretty much taken over by other countries, which I found to be pretty interesting. So the Polish flag was created in the late 17th century, which would be the 1600 year range, by Sigismund III Wasa, who was king of Poland from 1587 until 1632. And he established the official colors of the flag as red and white. However, it wasn't officially adopted. These colors weren't officially adopted until 1 year after the Treaty of Versailles proclaimed Poland a country again in 1919. However, Poland and Czechoslovakia used to have the same flag until a year after that, which was 1920. And so I don't know how many of you are familiar, but similar to how the United States, the three different colors of the United States flag, they kind of have their own separate meanings. But Poland also has meanings with the colors on their flags, with the red on the bottom, representing freedom and courage, and while white represents purity, which basically means being a good person as a citizen of the country, which I found to be pretty interesting. Someone with heritage from Poland, I was familiar with that, so I found that to be pretty interesting as well. I think we're ready for the next slide, Michelle.
Yeah, just cue me when you're ready for it.
Yeah. So Poland also has its own language. The official language is called Polish or Polski, and it has over 40 million speakers worldwide, including over 36 native speakers in Poland. That's a lot of people. So as I said earlier, Poland has a population of roughly 39 million. And so 36 of those are native speakers. 36 million. And so similar to the United States, where there are people from all different types of countries who come and live here, Poland also has people who speak German, Belarusian, Ukrainian, Hungarian, Slovak, and Czech, which are all bordering countries, as we go back to earlier, of Poland. And so with that, how about, would you guys like to maybe learn a little bit of Polish?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Okay,
It's
Matthew, what
Yes.
words are we going to learn in Polski or Polish? Is that right? Do you say Polski?
You can say it anyway. There's more than one way to say it. You can say it anyway, Polski or Polish. I think Polish is the more common term from internationally, but Polski can also be used. And so with this, we're going to learn how to say hello and goodbye, as well as some other words.
Okay. So, how's this going to work?
Michelle, I think if you could pull up a website that has these words on there that we can learn.
Yes, I've got that website pulled up. And right now I just have it pulled up for how it sounds, Matthew.
Mhm.
Unless you want me to show the website itself.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, the website itself.
Okay, so you guys, just as Matthew said, this first word we're going to learn is pretty common. Hello. How do you say hello? So be quiet real quick and listen to this. It'll say it for us.
Cześć.
Cześć.
Let's play that again.
Cześć.
It's very fast.
Yeah.
Cześć.
Huh. So when I was playing this earlier, Matthew, it really threw me off because it sounds like at the end there's like a TZ sound almost.
Yeah. I hear a little bit of maybe an H sound in there.
Uh-huh.
So a thing with the Polish language is that it has a lot of weird pronunciations. A lot of words that sound different than how they are actually spelled.
Cześć.
Like this one.
Yeah. Would anyone else like to give it a go with hello in Polish?
I'll play it one more time and then bring us back together so we can all practice together.
Cześć. Cześć.
Okay.
Sounds like a toughie, but I think we can do it.
Should we all practice it together? Or does anyone want to take a stab at it on their own? I see Gracie's hand going up.
Greasy. You want to try?
I think maybe it'd be helpful if we all try it together.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Let's try it.
Okay. On our countdown. Okay. In 3, 2,
2,
1.
1. Cześć.
Yes.
Chesh.
Yes.
Not bad for your first time.
Chesh.
But along with any language, it takes some practice to get it down. So don't feel bad if you're not able to get it in the first place.
Dude.
Is there another word that you wanted us to learn, Matthew?
Yeah. How about along with hello? How about we try goodbye? We learn how to say goodbye.
This one's a little longer. Here goes.
Do widzenia.
Whew.
Do widzenia.
Do that.
Do
Yes,
widzenia.
Virginia.
So I'm seeing a W right here, but it sounds like a V, doesn't it?
Do widzenia.
Do Vincia.
Okay, one more time and then I'll bring us back together.
Do widzenia.
Yes, Virginia.
Vincia.
That one's pretty fun to say.
Yes, Virginia.
Nice, Julie.
Good, Julie.
Oh,
Yes, Virginia.
Do widzenia.
so do we all want to try it together on the count of 3?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Do widzenia.
Do widzenia.
Yes, Virginia.
Do
Do
Vincia.
widzenia.
Nice, nice.
Do
Look at that. We're speaking Polski.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Do Vincia.
So with
Nice,
that,
Molly.
yeah. So with that,
Yeah,
I
there's
believe,
background noise here, so it's outside.
No worries, Rachel.
So with that, I believe we're ready to move on. So what is Poland known for? It is known for number one, its beautiful cities. So
Why does
with these
Canada-
pictures, we have the two main cities in Poland, which is Warsaw and Krakow. Warsaw is the capital of Poland and sits on the Vistula River, which we'll talk about later, I believe. And another thing with these big cities is that Poland is known for its large castles, which we have a video here of a castle in Krakow, which is the second largest city and is home to one of the largest castles in Poland. And
Did you
this
say
castle,
castles, Matthew?
castles, like
Oh.
medieval castles.
That is super cool. Are you ready
Yeah.
for the video?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oops.
Activate party mode. Oh yeah. Go Hammy.
A little bonus in the video.
Go ahead and pause. Something I'd like to add. Thank you. So noticing one thing about this castle and castles in Poland is that they use a style of architecture called Gothic architecture, which is very common back in medieval times when a lot of these castles were built. And so some common features is with Gothic architecture is, I don't know if you see these windows underneath the spherical buildings, they're round. With that, a lot of classic Gothic architecture has these round windows in it, along with these windows that kind of curve to have a curvature to them. So it's just something I wanted to add, is that Gothic architecture is really common in these castles in Poland. With that, you can continue, Michelle. Michelle, you can go ahead and pause. Perfect. So in this specific castle, it's also a museum as well, which people can go in and see. And so it has a lot of these different weapons and armor that you can go in and visit. And something that I like to point out is that here in my room in Chattanooga, I actually have swords on display in my room that kind of go along with that,
Okay. Neat.
which you see here in the video.
Huh.
Very cool.
Real
Which is
cool.
something I wanted to point out.
Yeah, that's pretty unique, Matthew.
Yeah. Since we're running out of time, there's really no need to go back to that video, since we have so much other stuff to cover. But after getting a little feel of castles in Poland, who would like to visit one?
I'm seeing lots of hands.
I'm up for a castle.
I know I. And so, moving on, Warsaw is, like I said, the capital of Poland, has a population of 1.765 million. I don't know, I'm not quite sure, but I think Chattanooga is a little smaller than Warsaw when it comes to population. Also, it is, Warsaw is also known as the Phoenix City, because it is known because of all the challenges going back to how much of Poland was was captured by different countries. It's also always known for rising from the ashes, as they say, which is why it's called the Phoenix City. And it is home to various landmarks such as the Royal Castle in Lazienki Park. Something about Lazienki Park, which is the picture down below the map right here. It is the largest park in Warsaw, and it's also one of the largest parks in Poland, which we have a video about, which you can go ahead and click on, Michelle.
And remind me, is that the first or the second link?
The first.
Okay.
Michelle, if you pause right here, I don't know if you just noticed, but those joggers walking, running through the park, you can actually go to this park in Poland and enjoy many recreational activities, such as just going out and getting some exercise. A lot of that similar to here in Chattanooga, where you can go to different parks here and do the same things that you can do in Lazienki.
Nice. Matthew, do you want me to roll on to the next video or keep moving with this one?
You can go back to the PowerPoint actually.
Okay.
Quickly running out of time.
No, quickly. This slide or the next one?
Are they?
The next slide.
All right. Well,
And so keeping on with Warsaw, we have one of the most noticeable skyscrapers in Poland, which is called the Złota 44, which is 630 feet tall and it is a residential apartment building with 54 levels on that. Now, I have a question for anyone who would like to contribute. Is there any buildings here in Chattanooga that you think would compare to the size of Złota 44?
What about, Matthew, you know that SunTrust building downtown? It's got like a big picture of the sun. It's a bank, I believe. Is that anywhere close in height to this one?
I don't know. It could be. So, Michelle, do you have a Google Maps of Złota 44 that we can look at?
Yes. Here, you guys will come along with me while we find it.
Oh,
That's
just
okay.
like Matthew, I have some Polish on my mother's side.
Oh, okay.
Oh, very
nice.
cool, Rachel.
Here we go. Zlota 44.
Yeah,
And you want the yellow man?
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see how big it is.
How do we see that?
Drag the man right next to the dot.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like a lot of Eastern European roots: Germany, Russia, Poland. Yeah.
Very cool, Rachel. Matthew, I'm not sure that I'm doing this quite correctly.
Yeah, that's okay. We can just move over it.
Looks like we're going to a nightclub.
Yeah.
Yeah, those little things there.
That's right. Practice my dance moves, Steph.
I'll do it.
Yeah, sorry, Matthew. I'm not familiar with that feature.
Yeah, so for those of you who are kind of confused here, Michelle has kind of been my assistant here since my computer is kind of slow. And so I think we'd be here a lot longer than 45 minutes with my computer. So we can go back to the PowerPoint if you'd like.
Okay.
And on to the next slide.
Okay. And just so people know, I did check it out, you guys, my guess of the SunTrust building, and it's only like 260 feet tall.
What?
So that's less than half the height of this huge skyscraper in Poland. That would probably be like right about here. So it may not look super huge, but it is.
That would make me pretty nervous, I think, to go all the way to the top.
Would anyone want to live on the 54th level or go on the 54th level? No?
Gracie
If I
said yes.
did, I hope it has elevators.
Oh,
I was just thinking about that, Catherine. If I had to climb the stairs with my groceries, that would be a lot of stairs. A lot of stairs to climb.
Yeah, I see Kendall was shaking her head. No.
No.
That high? No way.
Thumbs down.
So really quickly, I don't think.
Has a really high elevator in the Golden Building, which yikes.
Yikes, that's right.
That one was a little higher than
I will take the elevator.
So what were you saying, Matthew?
Whoa.
So another thing that for is it salt mines. More importantly, the Wieliczka salt mine, and it is the only salt mine in the world that has been continually functioning since the Middle Ages, which lasted from 1100 to 1500. So about, I'd say 500 years ago.
So Matthew, I have a quick question. This might be a silly question, but when you say the salt mine, like, do you mean like the salt we eat on our food?
Yeah, it can be mined from salt mines such as this.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just thought it came out of my salt shaker.
That's where the salt in your shaker comes from. It's from mines like this.
Wow.
While this is the most important salt mine in Poland, the most notable one, there are a lot of other salt mines all throughout Poland.
All right. Do you want me to click on that link or keep moving?
You can keep moving since we're running out of time. Something that I really wanted to talk about is the diverse geography in Poland and how there's even a desert. Not only is there a desert in Poland, but there's also a big forest, one of the biggest forests in all of Europe, which we'll talk about later.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. it looks a lot similar like what you can see here in Chattanooga in a way. So going to that forest that I was just talking about, it's called the Białowieża Forest, and it's the largest forest in Europe, right in Poland. In there, that forest, bison is the most common animal, and this forest covers almost over 140,000 hectares. And
That's
with that, you can
huge.
click on. And so
I'm sorry,
with that, you can go ahead and click on that video. This video is just some different wildlife that lives in that forest along with the bison.
Seems very peaceful.
And a lot of this wildlife is synonymous with what you can see here throughout the United States.
Yeah, my family gets those woodpeckers at the bird feeder.
Oh, they do, Rachel?
Yeah, they do.
That's pretty cool. Look at that frog. Look at his mouth.
Peck, peck, peck.
Rachel, there's some dead trees around in kind of like the back of my yard. And sometimes I see woodpeckers over there.
Yeah, you should see them. We have like a pole for the feeder and everything, and the feet and the woodpecker like does this and goes around the pole and
Oh, yeah.
eats.
They're fun to watch for sure.
You can go ahead and click out of that or show. I just wanted to give more an idea of what you can see in this forest. And so along with animals, you also have plants in this forest. Spruce trees and pine trees, which can commonly be used actually for Christmas trees that you can hang up in your house. These trees can be found in the forest in Poland.
That's a pretty little flower.
Yeah, that's called the king cup flower, which can also is called the yellow marigold, which you can, I'm pretty sure you can actually go at a gardening store and find this flower and purchase it for your garden.
Okay. What have we got going on here?
Here we have another different types of animals that you can find in the Białowieża forest. The gray wolf, which is also here in the United States, the wild boar, and the tree frog, which I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you've been to the aquarium, if anybody's been to the aquarium, I'm sure quite a few have. I think you can see a tree frog at the aquarium.
Huh.
There are some tree frogs there.
And with that, we can go ahead and move on to the next slide. And so not only is there the biggest forest in Europe in Poland, but there's also a desert located in southern Poland, and it's 12 square miles long and is believed to have been formed by a melting glacier many years ago. And on that, there's a video on that, is that because of the unusual environment that this desert is in, the forest has tried to claim the desert and grow over it. And so there have been efforts over the years from the people of Poland to conserve this desert. And that's what this video is about.
So you want me to play that?
Yeah. It's an article, but just click on the video if it comes up for you.
Okay, it looks like it's still loading, but they say it's a mini Sahara Desert
Yeah.
in Poland.
So yeah, it's 12 square miles long, which isn't as big as many of the other deserts throughout the world, but still it's unique in just the type of area that it's in the middle of Europe.
I don't know that the video is going to pull up for us, Matthew. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Labradoodles, cronuts, squirts.
It's a skirt and shorts.
The world loves a hybrid. So do businesses. So today, they're taking a smarter hybrid cloud approach using the tools, platform, and expertise of IBM.
The word Poland literally means those living in green fields. That's incredible. So yeah, it comes as a bit of a shock when you first see it, just there, over the horizon.
This view is also amazing for the tourists. They say always, wow, here's a desert in Poland. Yeah.
All right, we can go have a look. So was the desert was a lot everywhere? Lukasz Warseka and Marosz Gwydowski are our guides through the Polish Sahara, and even they remember the first time they saw it.
It was an amazing view. For the first time, the same like I saw the first time the sea. It was the same.
Same
wow,
reaction.
Yes, wow, mom, can I go there? No, son, you cannot.
There is only one way to appreciate it, though. Time to take a spin in the sandbox.
Everyone should love it if he's got a chance.
As you might have guessed, this desert isn't exactly a natural phenomenon, but it is nearly 1,000 years old, created when the land here was stripped of vegetation for mining silver. But for decades, this desert has been disappearing inch by inch, taken over by typical Polish vegetation like pine trees. And so the grass, this is good?
Yes.
This is good?
Yes.
This
Going along with what I talked about earlier, the pine trees.
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work and it's very difficult work.
Conservationists tell us how they're stripping the desert of what hasn't been indigenous for centuries and leaving desert grass and flowers. Some people would say, why bother? Just let it go green. Let the trees grow, let the vegetation grow over it. Why not? This place is worth fighting for, she tells me. It's worth working on it to make sure it doesn't disappear off the map. This area will stand out between the swamps and the wetlands. That will still take years, but our guides tell us it's worth doing, even if it means their days of off-roading are numbered. They believe they may end up having to park their vehicles to preserve the area. He tells me it will be a big attraction for Poland and Europe. It's the only natural desert in.
So yeah, so over this years, the people of Poland have been trying to preserve this desert to stop the vegetation from the forests, such as the pine trees, from taking over.
Wow.
And with that, we have some interesting facts on Poland. And Catherine, I don't know if you wanted to add something to this.
Yeah. So a couple fun facts about Poland is that some places here is considered rude to wear a hat inside,
I know some areas where I'm from is considered rude to, gesture for that. Mushrooming. Apparently, it's a popular family activity in Poland. They go outside into the forest, the mini forest that Matthew was talking about, and they'll go pick some mushrooms. Their kids are taught at an early age how to distinguish edible mushrooms from poisonous ones. That's crazy. That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah.
Does anybody here eat mushrooms? Any mushrooms on pizza or anything? Yeah.
You're all stop sharing so we can come
Oh,
back
yeah.
together and see. You might need to go to that gallery mode to see everybody. And you were asking, Catherine, does anybody eat mushrooms?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so sorry. I forgot it's rude to wear a hat in Poland inside. And excuse me while I put a lot of ketchup on my baguette because I love ketchup in Poland with my mushrooms.
Michelle, do you remember how to say hello if you're going to move to the country?
Bitch.
Good enough, Michelle.
Matthew.
And with that, I believe that's all we have time for.
Is it time to say goodbye?
It is time to say goodbye. So thank you guys for letting me be front and center for today's Explorers Club and getting to tell you guys a little more about Poland.
Yeah, we learned a ton today in that slideshow, Matthew. Thank you so much for putting that together.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. That was fun to get to travel to a place that we haven't been.
And in case you forgot, if you want to say goodbye in Poland, it is
Do widzenia.
Do widzenia.
Do widzenia.
Do widzenia.
I'd be down. I'll sleep down here. So,
Do widzenia, Emily. Do widzenia, Julie.
Everybody.
Goodbye, Gracie.
Bye, you guys. Do widzenia. See you soon.
Bye.